This training will walk you through the general steps of enrolling a client into your program. Navigate to the client workspace in the blue vertical bar and select the intake menu option from that workspace. That opens up the intake workflow. And a workflow is simply a series of steps for which to accomplish your task. This task is to add or edit the person that you're trying to enroll. Client track defaults to the last client that you were working on, which in this example was Mickey Mouse. However, we want to add a new client, and so we select that option. The client we want to enroll is Noah in example, and to avoid duplicate records, we type in just the first few letters of the first name and do a search by hitting Next. This brings up other client records with the name Noah, and we look to see if our client exists in those on the list. We don't see an existing record, so we can create a new record for Noah example and fill out the details of the basic client information section, which includes adding the Social Security number, or the last 4 digits of the Social Security number is acceptable as well. The next section in the basic client information is basic client demographics, where you enter the birth date, followed by a drop-down about race and ethnicity, their sex, and their veteran status. The next section under basic client information is to enter their contact information. This is followed by family information, which is the client's relationship to the head of household. If that client is the head of household, indicate it by choosing Self, or else select the appropriate relationship to head of household. The final section under the basic client information workflow step is the information release section. You can download PA HMIS's client consent form, have the client sign it, and re-upload it into the system, but this is not a mandatory action. It is only if your agency requires it. The next section is important, however, for it affects visibility for the client and all the client's details from this section of the intake going forward. In the information release, you could allow sharing or restrict it to your organization. Typically, most organizations will allow sharing so that we will not avoid duplicating records. Each subsequent step of the workflow has an information release where you can restrict visibility for that section to just your organization based on your client's preference. Enter the begin date for the information release, but leave the end date blank so that it does not restrict future visibility of the information. The next step of the intake workflow is to add any household members that the client has. And we do the same search as we did for the client, so that we do not duplicate any records. We have entered another household member under Noah example, Hava example, and we need to make sure that all the red asterisk sections are filled out in full, such as Hava's relationship to the head of household and race. We can then enroll this household into the project. Pick the project that you're enrolling the household into, and then enroll all family members that are being enrolled into that project. Make sure that all information such as relationship to head of household and any red asterisks field items are fully filled out. Enrollment intakes for most projects require a referral from coordinated entry, which is the select referral portion of this workflow. For the receive CE referral, select yes or no if there was a referral from CE for the enrollment. And all relevant CE referrals to your organization would be listed below. There are certain select cases where a referral may not be done or will be done subsequently, such as in the Eastern COC, if there is a walk-in to shelter that was after coordinated entry hours. In such cases, the receive CE referral answer will be no, and for the reason there'll be a drop-down of various programs that do not need a coordinated entry referral. If yours is not one of those programs or is not one of the drop-down list, select Other and then enter into the comment box the reason why there is no coordinated entry referral for your enrollment. For most cases, there is a referral and you select Yes. The Select Referral drop-down will list all the different referrals to your organization that will also be listed below. Choose the relevant CE referral to your enrollment. This will take you to the referral outcome, where you enter the dates and the outcome of that referral, whether the client was enrolled or not enrolled, and respectively the event result, whether it was a successful referral or not. When you filled in that information, a banner will appear telling you to enter the project that the referral was made. Click on that banner and it will take you to the relevant screen where you will just select your project. The next section of the workflow are assessments, starting with the Universal Data Assessment, which collects intake information that is common to all programs. Answer if the client has a disabling condition, which constitutes of a chronic health condition, physical disability, mental health disability, developmental disability, HIV/AIDS, that impairs daily living and is of an indefinite nature. If you need further information, click on the I icon, which will give you more information on how to answer the question. All these answers are client revealed and do not need to be verified at this time of intake. The next part of the Universal Data Assessment is the enrollment COC, and then that is followed by living situation. Record their prior living situation the night before they entered your program. Next, record how long they were in that living situation and the approximate date their episode of homelessness started. You can be approximate if they do not know the exact date. It is important that the approximate date this episode of homelessness started is consistent with the length of stay in their prior living situation of being homeless. The next question asks how many times the client has been on the streets, emergency shelters, or safe haven in the past 3 years, including this current episode of homelessness. Those living situations are considered literally homeless, and you are to count each episode living in those situations over the past 3 years that are separated by a stay in permanent housing or transitional housing that is more than 7 nights, or in an institution that is more than 90 days. Next, total number of months being literally homeless over the past 3 years. Partial days in a month count as a whole month. The Universal Data Assessment continues with health insurance. The assessment then lists specific types of health insurance, for which there has to be an answer for each. Click on the Check All box next to the heading type, which will default all the different insurance types to the answer No. From there, you can select the insurance that they are enrolled in and change that value to Yes. The next assessments that follow are common to many programs, but not all. The Barriers and Special Needs assessments assess the different barriers to housing and special needs that a client may have. As with health insurance, click on the Check All box next to the barrier title, and that will default the answer to No for all the barriers, and then select Yes to the barriers that apply. Also indicate whether that disability or barrier is a condition that is indefinite. The Domestic Violence Assessment asks whether the client is a survivor of domestic violence, and whether the experience occurred within the past 3 months or not, and whether the client is currently fleeing. As with all assessments, you do have the ability to restrict this assessment to sharing only within your organization, if the client so chooses. The Income Assessment collects information on the income and sources that the client has. If the client has a source of income and you selected Yes, a list of income sources will appear. Click on the income type that the client has and put the monthly amount that they are receiving. The same with non-cash benefits. If you clicked Yes to them receiving non-cash benefits, check on the type, if applicable, of non-cash benefit that they receive. And this is not mandatory, but you can also include the monthly amount for this section. The workflow will then move to the dependents of a household and ask the Universal Data Assessment for that dependent and also the barriers and special needs. Congratulations, you are then done with your enrollment intake. At any time, you can pause your workflow by selecting the Pause button, and whenever you need to resume it, select Pause Workflows from your menu, and you can resume where you left off. Make sure you click on the Finish sign to complete and securely finish the workflow. You can check that you have successfully completed your workflow by going to your client dashboard, and there you'll see the entry of both active household members into your project.